Can you give a brief lesson on key changes? What key changes do you prefer? Well, if you want a secret weapon, a key to the castle of key changes, do you know what I'd recommend exploring? I would recommend exploring diminished chords. I'll give you a quick explanation as to why. This is my piano. This is my hand. This is C major. This is a triad. It's a 3-part chord, a triad. And a diminished chord is this. And a diminished chord is a chord where all of the notes in the chord are the same distance apart. So minor third, and minor third. And there are actually only 3 diminished chords that exist within the piano, because that's the same as that one, you see? There are only 3. Every diminished chord I like to think of it as a 4-way crossroads, because the thing about a diminished chord is it leads you to loads of different places. And a good way to think about this, actually, if you lower any note in any diminished chord by a half step, or as we say in the UK, a semitone, then it will lead you to a different location, and it's a bit of a sort of shortcut. It's like a life hack. So check this out. This is C diminished. If I put the C down to B, it takes you to E. If I put the E flat down to a D, it takes you to G. If I put the F sharp down to an F, it takes you to B flat. If I put the A down to an A flat, it takes you to D flat. Now, can you believe that? Can you believe that? And that is really, really cool. And it means that when you're playing and you find yourself at a diminished chord, you can go anywhere you want to go, absolutely anywhere. It's a beautiful thing, because diminished chords are actually kind of fun, and they're in a lot of songs, especially old jazz standards. Come on! And obviously, dominant chords are just triads with a dominant thing on it. So basically, every time you play a triad, you're playing a diminished chord. And so every single chord is every single other chord, period. When it comes to harmonizing stuff, if you have control over all the different voices, then you have ultimate power to be a storyteller, because you can do whatever you want. And if you compound knowledge with freedom, then you're really talking. Freedom is way more important than knowledge. Like freedom of thought and freedom of experiment. Being fearless is like crazily important. A lot of people sit around worrying about this note is wrong, or what if this note it doesn't sound good, or what if I'm bad, or what if there's a right way of doing everything and I'm not doing the right way of doing everything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. You can literally do whatever you want. And if you realize that, it's just so capacious and so fun, because you really start to dig the immense potential of kind of every sound. Basically, it's about freedom, and it's about play. It's about play. Recommendations for training your ear. Listening. Listening is the best way to train your ear. Active listening, conscious listening to things that you like and trying to understand them and figure them out. That was how I learned music, was by listening to musicians I really liked a lot and getting every note of people's musical universe I had like in my DNA, in my mind, in my body, in my ear. It's the way. It's honestly the way. Have I thought about becoming a Hogwarts professor? Not really. I don't know the words to any songs. I just know because I listen to the music. I mean, I know that's a silly thing to say, but honestly, I spend so much time being conscious of the musical elements that I sometimes just completely forget to listen to words. Like period. I just forget. Do you recommend going to music school? I'm worried it won't make me a better artist. I don't think you need to go to music school. I don't think you need to go. It's completely up to you. I think that learning is something that you do for yourself and as yourself. And I think that education is something that other people do to you. And both have to exist at different points in your life. I'm very grateful for certain teachers in my life who came into my life at different times. But a lot of my best teachers were people who were either friends of mine or people I was listening to, like whose albums I was listening to. I think that sort of musical education can provide a pretty risky and dangerous set of values where there's like right and wrong. And this is the way you do it and this is the way you don't do it. And the thing about the rules is that all the rules are arbitrary. There will be people who say, this is how you do it. And if you do it a different way, then you're wrong. Or I'm right and do it the way I think is right. And I'm the master. And anyone who ever tells you that they know all the answers has simply stopped learning. Basically what we've been doing is, this is my room. Hello. And what I've been doing on the floor just now is signing these posters for you. And if you want a poster, then you can get one. How to get better at actually feeling what you're playing and to understand what you're feeling and put it into a musical context. Sing the notes and the chords you play. Sing. If you sing, then you emote. It's like an instantaneous thing. And obviously experimentation. Just experiment with a feeling. Right? If I go and then I go and then I go, and then I go. Because you're singing, you feel your way through it. It's like geography. When I started to experiment with chords with singing, then I started to understand each of the notes in the chords slightly more strongly. And after I'd done that, it was easier to identify with each note, and therefore with the motion of each note. And the stronger the motion of each note between the chords are, the more sensitive and nuanced and high resolution your narratives can be. We can divide evenly by 3, but it's more interesting when we don't, right? Like Gnawa music from Morocco, which I often talk about, does this lilty thing with 3s, where instead of it being like it's like it's a similar thing in like Great British folk music. Funny you should ask. You know, it's like a train. Rolls like an egg. Rather than. But then people like grids. And there's this myth that like the grid is correct, but actually it's not. And triplets can be really flexible and dynamic and interesting if you let them be free from the grid. If you could be an animal, what animal would you be? I've always had a real affinity with ring-tailed lemurs.